file has been damaged. They want you to restore the file using the backup copy on your Windows desktop. It's on your Windows desktop. So first thing we want to do, we're going to go open and restore. So it has no company information. So first thing we do is open restore. And we want to restore from a backup. Okay, and then we hit next. It's already in the local, which is on your desktop. Remember, the question says desktop. And then you want to go ahead and save it. You want to open it first. Click on the actual image right here, which is the file you want to restore. Open. It's already set. Hit next. And then you hit save. And your data has been restored successfully. So I'm going to hit OK and we move on to the next question. See, perfect. We're correct. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next question. So they're asking us, you use a debit card to buy one door frame. Okay. Door frame, an item you're selling from Zen Builder Supply, which is the vendor. Enter the transaction in QuickBooks. So we're going to go to, this is a transaction, we go to bank. And we're going to go to write a check. And we want to write in here, I'm going to put debit and hit enter. Okay. Then pay to the order, who you're going to pay. So we're going to click on this drop down. Let's find this vendor right here. Okay. So right now we have that situated. So let's go down. Let's click on item. Click on the item, which is a door. What was the item we were looking for? It's a door frame. So here it is, item door frame. It's an inventory. And how many door frame was it? It was just one, so we enter one. Okay. Hit enter, return to actually activate it. Notice how it populates the check right away. I'm going to scroll down. Press that. And we hit save. And let's see. Beautiful. And that gives us the steps how to do it. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. Miller, one of your employees, recently got a raise. His new salary is $45,000 a year. Enter this salary change in QuickBooks. Now to do this, what you want to do here is we're going to go right here, employee, and we're going to go to the employee center and find Dan Miller. This is the employee. Right click, the key, you got to right click, and then you want to edit employee information. And then we're going to go to payroll because there is particularly dealing with payroll salary. And then we're going to come right in payroll. We're going to click 45. They want us to change the salary to 45. Hit return to apply it. And then we're going to scroll down. Press an arrow. And we're going to hit OK to save. And hit next. And let's see if we got that. Perfect. We got it correctly. Wonderful. One. Your manager wants you to prepare a profit and loss standard report, but doesn't want to see sub-account details. Run a profit and loss standard report and modify the report to hide sub-accounts. Okay, so we're going to go to reports. And we can go to company right here, finance, and we want a profit and loss standard. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and click this so I can see, move it to the right, and we're going to collapse. So by collapsing it, you just focus in on the profit and loss standards. That's all he wants to see, and you hit next and you're done. Perfect, we got that one correct. Okay, company setup process. Which of the following is not a step when creating a new company file? Okay, importing lists of customers and vendors. You can do that in the beginning of the setup. Choosing your company's beginning chart of account. Yes, you can do that in the beginning setup. Entering the company's address and other contact information. You can do all this in the beginning. But one that's stood out is selecting the multi-user mode option so that multiple people can log into the file at the same time. This seems like something that you would do after your company file has been created. You could also change any of the other information. Let's go ahead and click that one. Change any other information QuickBooks entered during the company file creation, such as the charts of accounts and accounts balance. So this one is after. So let's see. Yep, correct. Beautiful. Okay. Which of the following statement about setting up multiple company files is true? You are limited to 10 company files per license. That don't sound right. Each QuickBooks can create and store information for an unlimited number of companies. That sounds about right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click that. Each company file has to be purchased separately when setting it up. Nope, that's not true. To set up another company file, click. Nope, that's not true. I think we're going to go with the middle one. Okay. Then let's hit next. And yep, that is correct. QuickBooks can create and store information for an unlimited number of company files. There are a lot of good reasons to start new company files, like taking on a new client or even starting your own new business. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look at this one. When you set up a new QuickBook company, how do you set up a new item and service that is not on the default list of items and services? Okay, I think this one might be it. Next to add the products and service you sell, click add more. So this one is how you would add new items. Just add more. Okay. You cannot add new products or service during company file setup. Nope, that's not true. When selecting your industry, click import products and service. Nope. Let's go ahead and see. Yep, that's correct. Okay. There are a lot of things that can be entered during the setup process for a new company, like items and services you sell or customers you sell to. There are some things that are better left to enter later though, like account balances. Okay. The following features allows you to keep all of your lists and preferences, but start from scratch with everything else in the company's file. And that will be consents data. Let's go ahead and check that. Yep, perfect. So consents data option allows you to keep your list and preferences while removing all of the old transaction. Pretty good. Let's go next one. How do you change your icon bar parents? So basically, click the view menu, select top left, and click hide icon. Let's see if that one works. Perfect. Okay. So between this option and your options in preferences, you can dramatically change the appearance of QuickBooks. So basically, to change the QuickBooks appearance, you got to click on the view menu, select top left or hide icon bar. So it's in view is the key word. Okay. Okay. How do you open the product information screen, which includes versions and company files information in QuickBooks? And a quick command is press F2 on the keyboard. F2 on the keyboard allows you to do that. Let's see. Correct. The product information screen includes information about the release and version of QuickBooks, and that's by pressing the F2 on the keyboard. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. You own a company that sells bats and you want to keep track of how many bird bats you have on hand. What item type should you use? You should use inventory because you want to have inventory of how much you have on hand. So, inventory, beautiful. Inventory allows you to keep track of how much of an item you have on hand. How do items affect your profit and loss and balance sheet? Okay. When you record a sale or purchase with an item, it acts as a pointer, increasing or decreasing the account assigned to it. I think that sounds about right. Let's see. Yep, correct. When setting up an item, you select the income account you want associated with the item and potentially select other accounts as well, depending upon the type of item you're creating. Okay. So let's take a look here. Next question. Okay. Which of the following statements best summarize undeposited funds? This undeposited funds means it hasn't been deposited somewhere. So money that has been collected from customers but has not yet been deposited at the bank. Yes, sir. I think that's it right there. And I'm not going to waste any time. Let's see. Yep. By default, this is an account used to keep track of money received through sales receipt and customers' payment towards invoice. Very important. So when you guys start logging in your getting money from cash or a different way, you always have to come back in Facebook and make sure you deposit that funds. Okay. In QuickBooks, what is a sale receipt? And a sale receipt right here is a record of a customer's purchasing something from you and paying you at the time of the sale. That sounds perfect. Yep. So sales receipts are routinely used by retail locations and restaurants to record sales that a customer pays for immediately. Because of this, they do not require a customer's name to be entered, and that is called a sales receipt. Okay. Which of the following do you have to enter before you can start processing invoice? Got to get an estimate first. Got to estimate first. Okay, and then you create the invoice. Let's go here. Okay. An estimate is like a quote for a price on services and products sent to a customer. Once an estimate is credited, you can create an invoice for the entire estimate or start progress invoicing to invoice for increments of a total estimate. Okay, so estimate is the first thing you do, is like a quote, and then once that's confirmed, then you create the invoice. Which purpose does the record bounce check feature serve? And here's the answer right here. It gave you two record bounce check, but I know this one, record bounce check, is a button on the customer payment screen that can be used when a customer check is rejected by the bank. Yep. So this action can be taken on payment received from customers to indicate that the customer check has bounced. Bounced meaning they didn't have enough money in the account to cover it. Okay? This is important. If you don't have the money, that's not good business practice. Okay? What is one way to track accounts receivable in QuickBooks? And the best way is record an invoice, then the customer pays, use receipt um, receive payment. Okay, so this one you want to create an invoice to track what is going in, what you're going to sell. When the customer pays, then you receive the payment. Okay. Yes. Accounts receivable is a record of what customers owe you. When you record an invoice, an account balance increases. Okay. When you receive a payment, the account balance decreases. Okay. Very good. What is one method for recording a customer's prepayment or deposit towards a future invoice? Mhm. Click Receive Payment and enter the customer's name. Then enter the details of the payment. At the bottom left, select the option. Leave the credit to be used later. hmm So this one is a little tricky. Some of them sound good. Okay, but basically click receive the payment. Let's see if that's correct. Yes. So a common mistake is to use the credit memo for this situation because credit memos do not impact your bank account to reflect the money given to you by the customer. By using the receive payment screen, QuickBooks credit the customer's account and lets you print a document for the customer's record. So remember the keyword prepayment or deposit towards future invoice, you have to receive payment. Why should you void a check? You record the check accurately along with the number, but the check will never be cash. That's important because if the check is not void, they can go and cash the check. So, deleting a transaction implies that it was entered completely improperly. Voiding, however, means that the transaction really took place but will never be completed, such as with a check that is lost in the mail. So, voiding is important. What account is affected by bills and bill payment? Accounts payable will be affected. Let's see. Yep. When you receive an invoice from a vendor or contractor, it should be entered as a bill in QuickBooks. This increases your accounts payable balance. Then later, when you enter a bill payment, your accounts payable balance decreases. Okay. What form should you use when you buy something with a credit card? You should use the credit card charge. It says the word credit in there. Yep. The right check screen should be used when you purchase something with money from a bank account. The credit card charge screen should be used when you purchase something with a credit card. When reconciling your bank account in QuickBooks, where does the beginning balance come from? Here it is. The beginning balance is the sum of all reconciled transactions for that account. Normally, this number will come from the most recent reconciliation ending balance. If an account has never been reconciled, this number will come from the account's opening balance. Very detailed in this one, so notice that there's a lot more to this process. So we're going to go with this one here, hit next, and there it is. Reconciliation build upon one another and therefore must be entered in a chronological order. Okay. What is the advantage to to using purchase order. They track what you've ordered from vendors and compare what you receive against what you have. And that is correct. Let's go here. Purchase order are non-posting transactions that don't affect any of your accounts, but they do keep track of what you have ordered and will eventually receive later. Okay, so that's good to know. You might want to purchase products, some t-shirts. You can use a PO. Once you receive it, that's when they're billed. When setting up a new employee, how do you set up how much money they're paid? And when you set up a new employee, you want to make sure you use in the new employee window, click the payroll information tab, then in the earnings section, enter their wages. Let's see if that's correct. Beautiful. So hourly rate, wages, and salaries is entered into earnings selection and payroll info tab. This is also where you can update an employee's wage after they have been set up. Okay, I'm going to pause here. We're going to continue. All right, so when setting up a new payroll liability, QuickBooks asks for which of the following piece of information: the frequency with which the liability has been paid, the vendor that the company pays, the account number, which the number of payee used to identify you. And all of these are correct. They sound perfectly correct. Yep, all of the above is payroll liability, such as deduction, addition, and taxes. Okay. Which is the correct method for paying payroll liability in QuickBooks? Okay, let's see here. QuickBook. Okay, so basically I will go with this one. So click pay liability and select the payroll liability that needs to be paid. Click view pay and enter payment details, and then click saved. Okay, payroll liability should always be paid through the payroll employee center. That's important to know. If you use the write check or bill window to record payroll liability payments, then the payment will not reduce the amount QuickBooks think you owe on the payroll liability report. So you gotta go to payroll employee center. Okay, that's good to know. How does QuickBooks keep track of how often and when you should run payroll? So you have a payroll schedule. Okay, keyword is payroll schedule. Payroll schedule keeps track of how often payroll should be run and what days are included in each payday. Which of the following statement is true regarding what time sheets do in QuickBooks? Okay, and now we'll go with the right settings turned on, time entered on timesheets is automatically entered on paychecks when running payroll. So that's a good feature to know and good feature to have. Timesheets are non-posting transactions which do not by themselves account for job cost or income from work performance for customers. Okay. Which of the following tab sometimes let you create a column on your report comparing your company's information from 1 year version of a previous year? And that is display. So when you go to display, let's go right here to compare a report period to another reporting period. Click the customize report button and then select the display tab. So you got to go to customize report and display tab. There you will find the options and you can compare the columns. Which of the following statement best describes a memorized report? Here it is. Memorized reports are reports whose customization have been saved so that you can run them more easily later. Transactions entered after report has been memorized can still alter a memorized report. So that's important. Let's see. Yep. By clicking the memorize button on a report, you save your customization, but the report can still be changed. If more transactions are entered, that would impact. It's based upon the customization. Make sure you guys look at this one in detail. Memorization report. Okay. How do you display a group of reports? To display a group of reports, pretty easy. You're going to click the reports menu and select process multiple reports. From the process multi-report screen, you can display, print, and email multiple reports. Keyword, process multiple reports. Report menu, process multiple reports. That's what we're looking for. Which of the following statement about cash versus accrue-based reports is not true? And cash-based reports only shows how much money you have on hand in the bank account. Yep. And let's see why. So this is pretty good. I want to make sure when you do these, make sure you guys read the bottom. Cash-basis report shows expenses and revenues for money that has been received or paid. Accrual basis report shows the same thing, but they also include expenses and income that have not yet been received or paid. How can you open a QuickBooks report in Microsoft Excel? So basically you click the Excel button on the top of any QuickBooks report, and that's how you can open it up. Now the thing is, you can't, let's see here. While there are many reasons for exporting reports from QuickBooks to Excel, the primary reason for most companies is to perform calculation and apply more filters than they can in QuickBooks. Okay. Which of the following transaction will affect an accrual basis report but not a cash-based report? An open invoice won't affect because it's still open. Let's see. Yep. Cash-based report only display information pertaining to transaction that has been paid. Cash-based. You get the cash, you get paid. As it pertains to sales, cash-based report will show sales reports, sales receipts, and paid invoice, but not unpaid invoice because it's an open invoice, hasn't been paid. What are the sections of a balance sheet? Balance sheet has asset, liability, and equity. Okay. Asset, liability, and equity. A balance sheet is often called a statement of position because it summarizes how much the business owes at a single point in time. That's important to know. You finish entering all the transactions for last year and just sent a file to the tax preparer. How do you ensure that no one accidentally alters last year's books? You want to set a close date and password in the accounting preferences or from the company's menu. Yep. Setting a close date helps prevent historical data by adding a warning anytime someone tries to enter or change transaction in a closed period, and it potentially password protect close period. So that's important. Okay, when you're preparing for the tax guide, you want to make sure you put a close date, password to protect it. Very important. Suppose your company doesn't need to track quantities or rate on invoices. How could you turn those options off? Let's see here. This one looks about right. So basically, you want to create an invoice, click Create Invoices, and then choose the Formatting tab. Click Customize Data Layout, and in the column section, uncheck the box for quantity and rate. Make sure you guys practice this piece on the actual program. So we're going to go through this and see how to do that together later on. Yeah, most things on an invoice, such as company logos, such as fields appearance, and invoice screen, which fields appears on a printed invoice, can be customized from these windows. So basically you can create invoice, formatting tab, and that's where you will customize it. Which of the features listed below could be used to enter the same transaction each day, week, month, or other repeating basis? And memorize transaction, because they memorize it, okay, and it's the same transaction over and over. Memorize means same, remember that. Okay, most transactions can be memorized and scheduled for later or on a repeating basis. Okay, the exception to this is transactions that needs to be linked to other transactions. For instance, bill payment, which must be linked to a specific bill, cannot be memorized. You want to keep track of your customers' birthdays so that you know when to send a birthday card. How can you do this in QuickBooks? Right here. QuickBooks doesn't have a birthday field by default, but you can set one up by clicking additional info and then defining fields to create your own fields. Here it is. Define fields let you create your own unique fields and for customers and vendors. Which of the following is not a functional area of QuickBooks when setting up a user access level? Yep, this is not. Purchase, order, and deposit. Yep, when setting up a new user, you cannot set up access rights for sales and accounts receivable, purchasable and accounts payable, checking and credit cards, inventory, tracking time, payroll, employee, and sensitive accountant activities. So this is important to know. You cannot do this in the beginning. Purchase and deposit, no. But what you can do, you can set up your time, payroll, employees, and change and deleting transactions. So let's go ahead and get this in order. You want to change something in QuickBooks on desktop. Match your preferred features from left to right. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is go to My Preference. In preference, we're gonna select Inventory. Then we're gonna get the company's preference. Then we get the job and estimate. Activate the invoice. And we're gonna go with multiple currencies. Allow you to pay and receive funds from other countries, multiple. So let's look at this. So to a tab that contains settings for personal use, you go to preference. Must be active. Let's see, let's double check here. Perfect, we got that correct. And here's the correct answers here. Okay. Okay. A customer has gone out of business. What is the best practice for removing the customer's entry? Make an entry and make inactive. Perfect. Which statement is false regarding merging records on a list? Merging records has no effect on past transactions. Okay, let's see why. Merging record has no effect on past transaction is false. It does has effect on past transactions. If you merge it, it's gonna alter it automatically. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Inventory, we're gonna go to custom, that's the first one. Non-inventory would be random. Perfect. Okay, so this looks about right. Let's double check. Yes. So basically, it gives you the correct answer. So inventory assembly, you want a custom mountain bikes built for special parts. Track the part, that's inventory. Non-inventory will be random. Assortments of postcards sold in package of 10. You don't have to track how many you keep in hand. That's non-inventory. Inventory parts, popular name brand mountain bikes you purchase from a supplier. You track how the bike's perfect. And services is like guided bicycle trail packages that you will offer. Well done. What is contained in a customer center? The customer center usually have the customers and the job, whatever the job is. Yeah, the customer center where the detailed information for your customers and respective jobs that you perform for each customer is located. Where is QuickBooks? Where in QuickBooks do you issue a vendor credit memo? And you would enter a credit memo in bills. Okay, vendor credit memos are entered in the same window as bills. Which of the following statement is true about entering a journal entry? The debit must equal the credit. That is true. You don't want to give too much money in and you don't have it, doesn't balance. Because debits and credits can affect accounts in unexpected ways, it's important to have a firm understanding of debit and credit before you record a journal entry. Okay? Or you can let your accountant record them for you. Let's see. Perfect. So we just went through. It's going to show you your scores.